Okay, so when we talk about retirement, we're usually sold this one specific dream, right? And let's be honest, it's a pretty intimidating one. We're told we need to save up millions and millions of dollars before we can even think about quitting. But what if there's another way, a better way? Well, today we're going to explore this powerful backdoor strategy that could literally change everything for you.
For a lot of people who follow the standard financial advice, this number, 76, is their work optional age. Yeah, that's the age they're told they can finally stop working. And if that number sends a little shiver down your spine, trust me, you are not alone.
To make this all feel a bit more real, let's talk about someone we'll call Rachel. She's 43, and when she finally sat down to calculate her retirement numbers, the results were frankly terrifying. The calculator basically told her she couldn't comfortably retire until she was merely 76 years old. I mean, can you imagine? That is a really tough pill to swallow.
So that brings us to our first big idea, the $1,000,000 mirage. It's that huge seven-figure number that for so many of us just feels completely impossible. It's like this illusion shimmering in the distance that we're supposed to chase for our entire lives.
Okay, let's break down this math you're seeing here. For Rachel to replace her $73,000 a year income, the target is a whopping $1.75 million. And look, with only $13,000 saved up at age 43, you can see exactly how that timeline stretches out for over 30 years. Seeing numbers like these is enough to trigger absolute panic.
And this quote just captures that feeling perfectly, doesn't it? The idea of grinding it out in a stressful job for another 3 decades, it's so demoralizing. It's the kind of thing that makes you want to just throw your hands up and stop trying altogether. It feels like an impossible climb.
And that feeling of hopelessness, it often comes from a psychological trap, which brings us right to our next section, the all-or-nothing trap. It's this mindset that forces us down one single, incredibly difficult path.
So here's the crucial mistake, the big misunderstanding. We convince ourselves that retirement means we can never, ever earn another dollar from work again. This super rigid belief forces us to build an unnecessarily massive investment portfolio, one that has to pay for every single coffee, every vacation, every bill for the rest of our lives.
And when you're sprinting towards that multi-million-dollar goal, it creates this intense psychological pressure cooker. You end up sacrificing your happiness right now for a finish line that feels decades away. It just crowds out everything fun, like travel and hobbies, and it leads to this constant pressure and, you guessed it, a huge risk of total burnout.
Oh, and then there's the giant elephant in the room for anyone in the US who dreams of retiring early, healthcare. I'm talking about the healthcare gap. If you retire in your 40s or 50s, you've got this huge, expensive gap before you can get on Medicare at 65. Paying for private health insurance on your own can literally add hundreds of thousands of dollars to your retirement number. It's a massive roadblock.
Let me ask you something, and be honest. Have you ever done this? You just avoid looking at your savings accounts because you're scared of what you'll see, scared to confirm how far behind you feel. You know, it's an incredibly common feeling, a kind of financial anxiety that so many of us go through.
But what if you could just change the rules of the game? This brings us to the solution, the Barista FIRE Backdoor. You can think of it like a cheat code for retirement, especially for people who feel like they're starting late.
The whole concept is actually brilliantly simple. With Barista FIRE, you don't save up enough money to cover 100% of your expenses. No. Instead, your investments cover most of your life, and then you leave that stressful corporate grind behind for a fun, low-stakes part-time job to cover the rest.
And this chart just lays it all out perfectly. See, traditional retirement is all or nothing, a giant pile of money that has to cover everything, forever. But Barista FIRE, it's a hybrid model. Your portfolio does the heavy lifting, and a simple, maybe even enjoyable job does the rest. And the result? Well, you need a fraction of the money, and your finish line can suddenly be 10, even 15 years closer.
So let's look at those numbers again. Remember Rachel's $1.75 million goal? With a Barista FIRE approach, that number could plummet to something like $600,000. That is over $1 million less she needs to save before she can quit her stressful job. Her portfolio can cover her core living costs, while a fun part-time job handles the rest, including that massive healthcare bill. I mean, the difference is absolutely life-changing.
So, what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's talk about what it means to have freedom with part-time work. Because it's not just about pouring coffee, unless, that's what you want it to be.
Take a guy named Jason, for example. After a long career in biotech, he took a fun job pouring wine at a local spot. As this quote explains, he wasn't doing it for the money or to climb some ladder.
He did it to get out of the house, meet new people, and get that social connection. That's a huge benefit a lot of early retirees really miss.
Or you can look at Chris and Jenny from the blog TikTok Life. Their whole approach is about flexibility. Jenny works as a pharmacist, but only when she feels like it, just covering shifts here and there. Meanwhile, Chris turned his hobby of fixing old Apple devices into a little side hustle. It gives them purpose, but without any of the pressure. And get this, between the two of them, they might only work a combined 20 to 50 hours in an entire month. That's it. Because their financial foundation is already secure, that little bit of extra income covers any gaps and gives them incredible freedom with their time. All of this, it really leads to a fundamental shift in how you think. This is about way more than just numbers. It's about completely redefining your finish line and what retirement even means to you.
And that brings us to a really crucial idea. Think of your investment portfolio as just stored energy. It's a tool. And if you never actually use that energy to buy back your time, to reclaim your freedom, and to start building a life you actually love, then what's the point of it all?
This is why the Barista FIRE strategy is such an amazing bridge. It gives you the best parts of working, the social connection, a bit of structure, but without any of the toxic stress and soul-crushing pressure of the corporate world you're trying so hard to escape.
And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? This whole idea gives you permission to just stop playing a game that feels rigged against you. What if you could just opt out and choose to play a different game entirely, one where you actually get to write the rules?
So I'll leave you with this final thought. If you could drop your stressful job tomorrow and pick up any fun, low-stakes role just to get out of the house and cover a few bills, what would your Barista FIRE job be?